Hey y'all, and welcome to The Wannabe Author. I'm Taryn, a writer figuring out how to turn my publishing dream into reality, one chaotic step at a time. This is the place where we talk books, writing struggles, mental health, and everything in between. Whether you're a writer, a reader, or just curious about the process, I am so glad you're here. Let's jump in. Perfection. Let me get all cooked up. Hi. Hey y'all. My name is Taryn Christine. Welcome to the first official episode of the Wannabe Author podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. Okay, heads up. If you are listening through podcast platforms, do know that I have a YouTube channel, which I will be videoing everything. So if I'm doing something or showing the camera something and you have no idea what I'm doing, just know that you can go and watch on YouTube. And I will more often than not, forget to explain myself. So, sorry in advance. All right. I've got a little intro script written out for the beginning, but after that I will not be reading off anything else. I will just be moving forward. Let us begin. Hey y'all, my name is Taryn. Welcome to the first official episode of The Wannabe Author. I am so excited to finally share this with you. This podcast is all about pulling back the curtain on what it's really like to chase a dream and becoming a published author, and for me to just be me. So, let's talk about why I started this. I know I just said it in that script thing, but I feel like it doesn't do it justice. I started this podcast mainly to keep myself busy. I am an author with my debut novel currently on submission. And if you don't know, that is a lot of waiting with no information whatsoever. And if you're impatient, incredibly impatient like I am, it's a form of torture, and I hate it. It's horrible. It's terrible, actually. It's fine. So I wanted to also TikTok. It might be going away, and if you know me, I love TikTok. I like making myself look like an idiot in videos. With that probably going away, I wanted to create more opportunities for myself, and I got into YouTube. I am liking YouTube a lot more. I also was realizing a lot of people put their podcasts on YouTube, and so I said, "Whoa, let's kill two birds with one stone." I love hearing myself talk. I love making stupid videos of myself. Perfect. Let's do a podcast. So here we are. I started from the ground zero when it came to publishing. I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew was I really wanted to write a book. I've always loved writing and reading. They were the outlets and the safe spaces to hunker down when life got too scary. So, when I first started writing my book, I never planned on publishing, okay? It was just a place of escape. I started writing back in 2023. Life got a little too crazy and I needed a safe place. So I started writing. Never ever ever in my wildest dreams did I think I'd start working towards publishing this book that I was writing. I came up with the idea back in high school, and I knew I would publish it one day. Like, I just knew. I knew I was going to do it, but I was in my mind's eye, I was an old woman with nothing else to do. So I'd publish this book that I would always have the idea of publishing. 2023 came, started writing the book, didn't tell anyone. About 3-4 months into writing the book, one of my best friends, she made a comment about, "You should write a book." And, I kind of just sat there staring at her like like I was hiding something, and she goes, "Have you started writing a book?" And I was like, "I think so." So, it became our book. Every day almost I would write a chapter, and every time I finished a chapter I'd send it to her, and she would read it, tell me what she thought about it. And that's what it became, was just our thing. I didn't even tell my husband about it. I just kind of sat up every night typing away, writing out this book until he finally found out what it was. He had read a little bit of it, and he encouraged me to publish it. So I was like, that's scary as hell to think about, but I'll look into it. We'll tinker around with the idea. I googled publishing. And of course, sponsored ads came up first. I found KDP, Kindle. Oh, shite. Kindle. No. Amazon KDP. I can't remember what the KDP stands for, but it's self publishing. And I was like, okay, that's an option. That's pretty cool. I'm also, my husband and I were in school and little broke college kids. So I wanted something that wouldn't cost me a whole ton of money. So yeah, self-publishing was an option. Um, then I was looking into traditional publishing, and of course, sponsored ads, spam things came up in the Google, and it was saying that it would cost me over like $5,000 to traditionally publish. So I was like, no, thank you. And I moved forward with self-publishing. By December of 2023, my book was written. I announced to friends and family that I would be publishing my book on Amazon, and I published February 24th, 2024. I'll show you. I'll even show you. It's this cute little beauty. Ain't she adorable? She's a thick boy. This book is no longer this book that is currently out on submission. It is no longer this book. Very, very different. I know I have quite a few readers that have been curious as to what has changed regarding the book and what is currently out on submission. Same storyline, but very, very different. There's a lot of more background details that have been added into it. There is more personalization, a lot more heartbreaking things added. And I think you will love it 10 times more. To my readers who did love this, you will love it 10 times more, I promise. So, it was self-published. I think it remained self-published up on Amazon for, let's see, I self-published in February 2024. I took it down in April. A lot of people loved the book. I got a lot of compliments. I had a lot of people reading it and adding it, and I was just on cloud nine. It was so much fun. But listen, I got a review that was paragraphs long. I actually screenshotted this review and I've kept it because it fuels my motivation to keep going. So, honestly, the review was valid on all sides. I did not get an editor. I did not get any help regarding my book because I had no idea where to look. No idea where to get help. I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew was I could put this book out. I did what I wanted to do. That was it. So I got this review that was just so upset with my book, said it was one of the worst they've ever read. And, valid. They said they had a really, really hard time with the fact that there was no editing. A bunch of words were messed up. Should I read the review? Would that be terrible of me? Is that masochistic of me? I think it might be. I'll read some pinpoints of it. Let's see. There's pictures of me crying. Oh, please tell me it's here. Oh, that's why. All photos, stupid. Sorry, I'm just abusing my computer. Here it is. Okay. It's a 1-star review. It starts with, honestly, one of the toughest reads I've ever had. The most difficult part about the whole experience was the grammar spelling errors. Goodness gracious, I could hardly focus on anything but that. Simple things like road instead of road, so like RODE instead of ROAD, or new instead of new, NEW, KNEW. There were run-on sentences all over the place and and a handful of sentences that didn't make any sense at all. Okay. So again, I had no editor. But this is the best part. And I'm kind of a jackass. Let's put that there. I am a jackass. In the acknowledgments of the book. Oh, I can read it actually. In the acknowledgments of my book, the first sentence was, I would like to be the first to acknowledge that I am not a grammar or spelling genius. So to all my grammar freaks, send your complaints to my email. No, I will not be including my email. I thought I slayed with that. I just sound like an asshole. So that was also mentioned in my review. The disclaimer at the beginning of the book stating the author knew they weren't a grammar or spelling genius and then essentially telling all grammar freaks to buzz off was disconcerting and unprofessional. You certainly don't have to be a genius in either area to be a writer, but I would hope you care enough about your craft to make sure you're doing it correctly. This is such a valid point. Such a valid point. So, as soon as this review came in, I remember, so at the time I actually had been querying. Again, I knew nothing, no idea of what I was doing. I was querying an unfinished book. That's a no-no apparently. Just so you know, if you don't know that, don't query unfinished books. So I was querying an unfinished book. And so I learned about the query process. I learned that, it doesn't take thousands of dollars to get your book traditionally published. You just need an agent and no upfront money. If anyone's asking for upfront money, they are fake. Do not go forward with that. So I knew about querying. As soon as that review came in, I was like, well, I need an editor because people are liking the book. It's no longer just a for fun thing for me to say, oh, I did it. I published a book. This is becoming something that people are really liking and it has potential. But I don't want the fact that I didn't put in the work or put in a little bit more money to deter the fact that it could be something great. So I remembered that traditional publishing, again, no upfront money, they do have editors. So I thought, well, let's get this book traditionally published. So I've put together only 15 agents that were in contemporary romance, because that's what my book is. It's contemporary romance. That were accepting queries, and I sent out my queries. Within 3 weeks, I got my agent. I signed with my agent. And I cannot wait for that review to see that one day and be like, oh, okay, it actually was a good book when she got it edited. Because it is. Now that I've had help and I've had someone helping me out and actually putting in the effort to make it a book worthy of its readers, it is much better. So that is what got me into traditional publishing, was that one review. That one review. And I will forever thank you, that one review. I have no idea who you are, but I love you. Thank you for pushing me. You knew. That's why you put that review there. You knew it could be something great if I had gotten help. Thank you. I appreciate the motivation. That book will return, and I hope your paragraph that you write has good things to say next time. So, here I am, a wannabe author, working to get my book traditionally published after being self-published. What you can expect from this podcast. Topics I will cover, we will dive into everything from the nitty-gritty of writing, like tackling first drafts, query letters, to emotional side of the journey, like dealing with rejections and imposter syndrome. I've gotten lots of rejections. I have gotten lots of bad reviews. I know rejection. It is my close friend. I know imposter syndrome, and that's the imposter syndrome part is a huge reason of why the podcast is called the Wannabe Author Podcast, because we all deal with it. I deal with it 24/7. I have a hard time even considering myself an actual author, even though I am self-published and I am in the midst of getting traditionally published. I have 2 books fully written and I have lots of projects in the queue. But despite the imposter syndrome, we press forward, we keep going forward. And so that's a big part of the title of this podcast, is even though you might not feel there, you are there, and you just got to keep working towards it. Sometimes you can't beat the thoughts in your head, so you just keep moving forward until you get there. And you might never ever feel like you got there, but we're gonna sure work towards it. I also have fun episodes planned, interviews, collabs with readers, and behind the scenes look of the author life. My vision, my hope is that this podcast feels like a cozy space where you can take a seat with me, chill, share stories, learn together, be vulnerable, and be reminders for one another that we are not alone in this adventure. Since this is my first episode, I would love to know what is one thing you wish you knew about writing or publishing when you first started, or anything you would like to know from me, from my journey, for me to dive deeper into. Send me your thoughts, and I will share responses in upcoming episodes. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to touch on in this first episode. I think that's about it for right now. That's about all for right now. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me in this first episode. Starting this podcast feels like a big leap, and I'm so happy to have you here along for the ride. Yes, that was totally written out, and I totally just read from it. But if you enjoyed this episode, smash that subscribe button. I will be here. You will be getting a new episode every Thursday. That is the goal. Trying to think about what next episode will be. I'm actually recording a bunch today. So I need to batch content because I do work full time. I don't think that matters for you to know. But again, thank you for being here. This has been a fun episode, and I am looking forward to more episodes. Sure love y'all, and I'll see you next Thursday.